Hi guys. Have we had fun today? We've been away from the house for a few hours. And check out Ya's new aloha, everybody. His aloha. Oh, stand up, you're going to show them the bird.
The things I do for you.
I know. Joel and I were in town and Ya was with Peter Pinson talking about blokey things. And yeah, so, any
Well, we talked about computers.
Yes, and it's been
Well, they're
decided.
going to build me a computer. That's totally off the net.
Yeah, solid state.
Solid state, can't be touched on the internet, no way, nothing.
Peter's been our computer guy since 2012 now. He just shakes his head every time we take, which is a lot, take a laptop or a computer to him because of, there was one time, probably 18 months ago, when Ya's laptop was so compromised and it took Peter 3 days to clean it up, and he said, this is what was it, about level 6 military grade spyware that had been installed. You know, and he said that this is the type of thing that they would be watching Putin's computers with. So they do.
I welcome it. Oh, no problem. Open book, right? Come on.
And that's been since. Tell what you used to do when you were in Canada. Leave there.
Oh, I had a small trailer, which in Australia they call a caravan, 23 foot long, and I'd leave my computers on and the door open, and then I'd put a sliver of glass under the mat. So when the spy agency, which would have been the Canadian Mounted Police or something like that, would step in, they'd put this size 12 on the glass and break it. So when I come back, and I'd leave the notes on the computer. This is what I've been doing today, da-da-da, and you can copy that, no problem. And any questions, ask. So that's what I did, continuously leaving all sorts of information. Everything I did was up and out front, and no matter what it was, all the calculations, all of the revelations, all the bitmaps I'd draw, anything that I'd uncovered, and that week, and because they come in every Tuesday, so I had to be in another town once a week. Yeah, so that's what I do. So the police would, because I had to drive over a mountain to get to where I was formerly in Port Alberni, in this other place I was in called Coombs on Vancouver Island, and every now and then the police would pull me up or they'd run me off the road. One time there I was coming back and 3 police cars pushed me off the road into a, which used to be what appeared to be a service station, all gravel and all level. But they then surrounded me with their cars and then gave me a toot and a wave and drove off. That's the kind of thing they do. Another time I was pulled up and this great big fat copper come on, and he asked me, "Is your name Golightly Marshall?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What's your mother's name?" I said, "Golightly." Like, brilliant. So he goes back to the car, and the great big fat guy sitting in it with him must have been a sergeant of police or something. So a long time passed, and then they're sort of nodding back and forwards, and I'm watching them in the rear vision mirror. And finally the guy comes back and he says, "Yeah, the computer's down, we can't get through." I said, "Yeah, right, thanks very much." And off I went. In other words, I was told to leave me alone.
Now, what's amusing is that today I requested and got printed copies of Ya's entire medical record, which is only just from 2014. We told you how he had 11 heart attacks, all filmed up there climbing into the ascending passage and through the Graham Gallery, and to lie down in the King's Coffer on the 11th of October 2013. And of course we didn't do anything about it. Ya eventually recovered enough after just lying low for about 2 weeks, and then we moved apartment into the Giza Plateau and then down to Luxor, etc. So it was February 2015 2014, we've been home 2.5 months, and I said, well, we better go to the doctor and check out to see what's going on with your heart. Well, of course, Dr. Ben, oh God.
He sends me to a specialist cardiologist, and they have this bicycle machine there that you have to speed up or just maintain a speed. And they check your heart, they have your EEG and all this kind of thing checked up. So I was going faster and faster and faster, and the doctor kept saying to me, listen, it's all right, if you don't feel good, just let me know and we'll stop. I said, no problem. So I just kept on putting the long ones in. So I figured I was doing about 80 kilometres an hour on a bicycle. So this thing's really going. And in my mind, I'm overtaking traffic. And he said, listen, are you sure you're all right? I said, yeah, no problem. Well, it turns out he had discovered that I had half a heart.
I actually read the report today where the doctor said that, he gives exactly how fast he was going, how many RPMs and all this kind of thing. And he said he stopped him after 5 minutes and 9 seconds, and it wasn't through any discomfort with or chest tightness or shortness of breath with the patient. But what the screen was showing, the doctor stopped him out of fear that he was going to have a heart attack and drop dead right where he was. So this is the report that went back to Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben phones us and we go in there immediately, bad news, and a referral to a cardiologist down in the hospital in Brisbane, etc., etc. And that cardiologist who did that test said that the prognosis was not good, that he was more than likely going to have a major heart attack, fatal. He called it a fatal heart attack within 12 months. So all of this activity is going on, get us in down there, sending off faxes, and and at the same time, of course, the blood tests came back with the continued leukemia that was first detected in about 1997. And now, this is all very interesting. So I'm just giving you the backdrop now because we go back to, so this happened 2014. Today I've picked up all of the files and I've been reading them and having a laugh. I'll just read to you. No, we'll go back over all the things that happened to him, your medical record, give the backdrop, and then I'll read to you what the cardiologist said and the haematologist.
See, you'll never get truth when you've got to write it down, and doctors don't do that. Right,
go back to 1995. Why did you have to have the myogram and the radial?
I don't know, I've forgotten.
The back operation.
Oh,
you had to, talk about that.
Oh, it goes back to 1975. They knew who I was then, and I had a back problem, which was on the work site. And when I went into the hospital, they put 16 cc's of contrast in my back, and this contrast was later banned because it was so damaging to the what's called the andrachnoiditis, which is the inner lining.
The nerves. It fuses the nerves together. Now, people die horribly. But just tell them what happened to you.
A horrible death when they have been the stuff's
taken out.
They left it all in me, 16 cc's.
Now, okay, so you had 2 back operations where they took out the wrong discs, right?
The first operation, they take the disc out and they take the wrong disc out. So this dye in my back was in fact somewhat deadening of the pain, so I could function to a certain degree. But it's very, very painful. You have no idea what back pain is like unless you have to suffer.
All right, just walk through the operations, right? Because I'm bringing this up to... No, just tell them what happened to you, everything that happened to you medically. Starting in BC, then they know about the bullets that were fired at you. Okay, how did you end up in the doctor's office in 1991 where he's looking at you saying...
I still had this dye, if you like, had died off in me being a sort of a numbing agent. And the original disc that they didn't take out was now really a problem. So I go and see a doctor, and by that time they'd come up with the invention of the MRI. And that is 30,000 times the Earth's magnetic field. And what they've got to do is do an x-ray of your eyes, especially if you've been working in the industries, because you might have a bit of steel from a grinder or whatever in your eyes, and this huge magnetic field will pull it through into your brain and can do a lot of damage. So this guy, he took an x-ray of my, what they call orbits, and he said, "You've just had a myelogram, have you?" And I said, "Yeah, 1975, and now this is 1991. And he said, "What?" And I told him. He said, "This stuff has been banned." He said, "You should be dead." Right? So I said, "Well," he said, "it's gone through all of your brain." He said, "Looking at it, it's like a little universe with the synapses, if you like, how the universe is represented by the stars. It's just like that." He said, "You can see all this stuff, and it's also in your optic nerves, and it's also down your spine." Right? So everywhere in my body where I've got nerve connections, this stuff had migrated through. So I used to make a joke out of it, you know, it's glow in the dark. Right? But based on that, then we have to go and have another operation. Now, when I had the operation, I said, "I don't want any drugs." And the first thing I do when I woke up, I see they've got a drug in my vein. And I asked the nurse, I said, "What is this?" She said, "Morphine." I said, "I don't want it." I pulled it out. She said, "You can't do that, you just can't pull it out, you've got to be done slowly." I said, "Well, it's out." And then I got up and went home. Right? And they're all complaining, "You shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, you can't leave now, blah, blah, blah." So I got up and walked out. Right? So,
all right, so
that
that...
to 1991 or 2.
All right, so that's the beginning of the workers' comp, because you're in... you know, that he's looking at what they've done to you.
When I got back from the hospital, my dear lovely wife had taken all the money out the bank. I had $45,000 from a sale of property in Australia. She took it and took off with her 2 sons to Australia. And when I get out of hospital, naturally I need something. She's gone. All that was left was 3 plates of baked beans, not washed. So I thought, that bastard. So I then traced through the bank where it had gone to, and I sent a fax with her signature on it, because I forged it, to the bank in Australia, and they sent the money back to my bank account.
All right, so move right along, because come back to your next experience with the hospital in Melbourne. This time you're back in Melbourne. I just want to paint the picture, because when I read what they say, these guys will understand.
I end up having a kidney stone.
No, you're back in Australia, right?
Back in Australia.
Right.
So I go down to my local doctor, and he said, "Look, you've got a kidney stone. The best thing is to go into the hospital, and they put a stent in, and then they hit it with ultrasound, and you blow the kidney stone up. So that's the best way of doing it. Otherwise, you can't get a lot of pain." Right? I said, "Oh, all right." So I go into the hospital, and they're going to put a stent in there. What they do is they put a long tube, it's about, must be a foot or more long, that goes up through your bladder and into your kidney. So I was waiting to have this done, and a couple of days passed, and it was one evening, late in the evening, 2 doctors come in and they put me on this trolley, and they took me down this hallway to the laboratory where they're going to do the x-rays or whatever they do. And as we're going down, all the lights are out. And I thought, you know, this is late at night, right? So it's very hot. So when we get to the entrance to the long hallway that leads into the x-ray department, it was locked. And a doctor come along and he said, "Oh, I'm going in the back way, I'll come and open the door for you." And I thought, this is very hot, right? So he comes and opens the door up, and then we go this long hallway, 50, 60 feet or more, and into this x-ray room, straight through into another room, and there was 23 elderly doctors, all standing around ignoring me, talking to each other, a bit of whisper nodding here and there. So I said to the anaesthetist, I said, "What's all these doctors doing in here, 23 doctors?" This is a simple procedure that really a student can do, right? It's no big deal, right? So by that time he's got this anaesthetic needle in my vein in my hand, and as I'm looking at these people, they're all glancing away. I notice they're from New Zealand, I was up from Sydney, I was up from Darwin, over from Perth, and all the different hospitals, none from the same hospital. I'm just reading the tags, right? And then I passed out. But the next day I wake up and my doctor, a younger fella, he said, you're passing blood in your urine. I said, oh, yeah. He said, there's something wrong there, that the artery or something is pumping the blood out through your kidney, which is going into your urine, and you have to have a transfusion. I said, well, I ain't having one. Right? So he said, well, you've got to, you'll die. I said, I'm not having it. I can do it. So he insisted, and I said no, and he kept on insisting. I said no, and every couple of hours he'd come back and say, look at the results, you're getting whiter and you're getting loss of blood. I said, I'm not having it done, forget about it, right? So this went on for 3 or 4 days or more, and finally I was quite white, and the doctor came in one morning and I'd got all my blood back. Nice and pink. Yeah, so that's just the kind of things I've got to put up with. Right. See, a psychiatrist or a doctor would never believe in it.
Now, don't even go there. Just the next time you were in the hospital was when they told you that you had leukemia, right?
This next time I go to one of the biggest modern hospitals in Melbourne. It's called the Austin. And I go in there, and it really is a lovely place. It's very well done. And what they wanted to do was to take a bone marrow sample out of my hip. And how they do that, they get this little round sort of a chisel thing, and then they get a hammer and they open you up on your hip and then just belt it in, and then that pulls out the marrow. So they asked me if they could do it. I said, yeah, I could do it. Well, it turned out that I've got leukemia. So not only have I got leukemia, but I've got this dye that's all through my brain and all my nervous system, which should kill people, normally would kill people. You just don't survive that. When they take it out, people die.
Right, it's called arachnoiditis, and there's no recovery from it. It's just excruciating pain and you want to die. Now,
people commit suicide.
All right, I'll bring you up to speed.
Have I missed something?
No, so you understand Yar's concern about going to a hospital, right? His every experience being in a hospital has been really bad, and he knows it's been an attempt on his life from 1975. Okay, so this is the reason why when he had the major infarction on the 11th of October 2013 at the Great Pyramid, it's why he just said, no, we're not going to a hospital. They will try. They'll try to kill me.
I'm the Holy Ghost, they can't kill me. I just get uncomfortable, that's all.
But it doesn't stop them trying.
That's right.
All right, so we come back to Australia. It's now 2014, and we go to have this investigation, find out what really went on. Oh my God, he's got to drop dead.
Now I'm an old age pensioner in Australia, see. You know, I'm over 65, I'm 73 now. So a couple of years ago, we thought, well, we'll go in and see if we can get a carer's pension.
Oh, I think you've had this, you know.
Now, anyone else in my condition would be in a wheelchair or dead.
Yes.
But as far as the medical people, they willingly took her, because she's old enough woman as well, so because she's my wife, she becomes a carer. Yes. Which is all fine.
Anyway, it was all about filling out the carers form and just really seeing what's going on. Okay,
just one of those things we did just to
today, you know, it's going on 3 years now. I picked up all of the paperwork from Dr. Ben. This is it all. These are the reports and the letters going backwards and forwards. And I read with amusement the the cardiologist, Dr. Lin. These guys wearing black at a Freemason hospital.
They were a Freemason hospital, and we're up on the 6th floor or something like that, and they want to put a stent in the heart. So they came in, and before that I'd had all these tests done on the various machines they've got, and They've got the,
and the left
heart
side
beating away, and the left side of the heart is dead. So they told me what was going on. They're going to put a stent in. I said, well, where are you going to put it? And I said, well, in the good side. I said, well, what's the point of doing that? You might as well put it in the bad side. Right? Like it was going to recover, like give it a bit of chance for the blood going through. But no, they're going to put it in the right side. So I thought, they're going to bastards, they're going to try and do me in. Right? And they're dressed in black. Have you ever seen surgeons come in dressed in black? It doesn't happen.
At a Freemason hospital.
At a Freemason hospital.
Okay, so this is the report. So we're reading this for the first time today, and it just describes, and of course we refused to have any treatment, and we did agree that he would prescribe some drugs, which of course we never ever got the script. He said, will you take the drugs or I'll give them to you? And I said, no. But he gave us the script anyway, and of course we haven't, because it's all recorded here. But anyway,
covering your ass.
Now, get a load of this. So we've refused, but we've also told him why. You know, listen to this. During the course of the consultation, Brian and his wife began expressing grandiose delusions about him having royal ancestry and having a right to the throne of England, along with being, well, he said anointed, he's got that wrong, I think I'll write to him and correct him, being anointed by Pope Benedict as the next Christ.
Well, I was anointed by Pope Benedict.
Well, you were announced.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, he's as the next Christ. He also had paranoid delusions of there being multiple attempts on his life by various underground organisations. No, they weren't. They were hospitals.
Hospitals. Nothing underground about it.
Underground organisations that he had a history of medical procedures with complications which supported this fact. There was an extensive discussion with the patient and his wife regarding his likely diagnosis and the treatment options, the procedure and risks of coronary angiography, along with his risk of future myocardial infarctions and death if left untreated. Brian refused to have a coronary angiogram based on his fear of harm and attempts to end his life through poisons and medical procedures, along with the fact that his wife is not permitted to be in the same room as him whilst having the procedure. I said, can I be in the room to watch you? No. I said, well, forget it. Now, because I got stuck into the guys, because they were really arrogant young pricks. And so I'm in his face and I said, listen, because he says, look, it'll be me doing the procedure, you know. And I said, until 45 minutes before the operation, you'll get a phone call and you're sent somewhere else and somebody takes your place, you know. Anyway, so he just says, in light of this, we have decided to pursue medical therapy in this patient. Today I have commenced him on, well, he's named all these 4 drugs, of course, and, you know, we tore up the script, but anyway. But in the last paragraph, we are delighted to report, we believe he has some serious mental health issues which need to be addressed, and he has poor insight into the seriousness of his medical conditions, instead choosing to be led by his paranoid delusions that people are out to harm him. Thank you for our ongoing care of this patient. I think it's a typo there because we walked out and what did the stars above say? I remember we did them when we just
trying to kill me.
It was just like enough, stood up and get out of here, like in your face. What's that? Talk to the hand and not the face or something like that. Okay, so that was the cardiologist re the heart. Now, moving over to Dr. Jürgen Gundlach, a German doctor who was attached to Hervey Bay Hospital. Originally they wanted us to go to Brisbane, they wanted to get into haematology there, and we refused. We just said we're not going to do that. So they phoned back and said, look, we've made arrangements next door at Hervey Bay Hospital, and this is for the lumbar puncture and all that kind of thing. So we go there, right? We all right, okay, we go there. And as Dr. Gundlach is explaining the procedure, and we had already, you know, we're not going to do anything that they recommend to do with over this leukemia, all this kind of thing. So Dr. Gundlach, I don't know, he just seemed to take a great deal of delight in describing what first of all, the procedure and what may go wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, serious injury or death, worst case scenario. But it was, he's describing this hammering into the pelvic bone and all this kind, and then they're drilling like this. I started to feel sick.
Right? No,
much like walking, you know, the St. Michael's tour that day, and go, I'm feeling sick. He takes a phone call and he's talking so rudely for at least 10 minutes in front of us, when he just continues talking on his phone and goes, and I just said to him, yeah, look, let's get this straight. We're not going to follow their recommendations no matter what they find with this procedure, right? He goes, yeah, right. That's the idea.
See you right.
And I say, so this is all unnecessary pain and torture for no reason, right? Yes, pretty much. And I said, well, what are we doing here? You are not having
They're going to discover I've still got leukemia. They've already got the blood test, right? So now they're looking for blast cells. What that is the unusual little cells that are not forming properly in the...
Yeah, it's the blasts that in the bloodstream that are the danger alert, this kind of thing. So anyway, we go out to the admission station, we're the nursing station, and I'm still feeling sick, and I'm going like this, and I just say to the admissions nurse, I said, listen, he's just described the procedure, and we've decided we're not going to have this done. And she said to me, I don't blame you, I wouldn't either. Right. Okay, so now this is Dr. Gundlach, because of course we told him the same story about his sick and all the rest of it. Now, so this is what it was. A bone marrow biopsy was scheduled at the Hervey Bay Hospital by Dr. Gundlach and Brisbane haematologist Dr. Morris, as the patient has circulating blast cells but did not want to travel to Brisbane for testing. Patient presented for the test, given information about test to obtain consent. Patient and wife not happy to go ahead, as was going to be unpleasant and had no plans to go ahead with treatment anyway. So patient and his wife believe patient is Christ. This is why he does not plan to go ahead with medicine, brackets, will heal himself. Dr. Gundlach has contacted Dr. Morris to inform him of this. The last set of bloods were similar to the previous. Patient's GP has a good relationship with the patient and thinks he has the capacity to make his own decisions. Now, get a load of this. This is behind the scenes. Mental health were consulted and have advised that no involuntary assessment needs to be made at this time. So, and the recommendations were to please continue to liaise with Dr. Morris about ongoing blood tests, including flow, cytometry, etc., etc., etc. So, anyway, basically, we haven't followed up at all. It was just we were playing the game, doing the dance with these doctors. And now what was interesting, though, is that when the report came back for the type of... They thought that he got the leukemia. I remember reading this through radiation, exposure to X-ray radiation. Well, of course, that all goes back to 1975, and believing within him the 16 cc's of this radioactive material that they banned years later because it was killing people. So it kind of goes, click, click. Well, of course that's where he got it from. So anyway, but you would understand Yard's reluctance to go into a hospital for any reason. I mean, a few months ago now, he walked upstairs and he says, I don't have a pulse. There's no pulse. And so he's lying down and he's got his hat, like, cannot feel a pulse. And, okay, this is going to be interesting. So it was all like, okay, is it back yet? And it came back a bit like a Morse code signal. Stop. Stop. For a few minutes. And okay, well, you know, I'm still here. It's all good.
I don't need blood to keep alive.
That's the Holy Ghost being the white garment of immortality worn over his flesh body. So,
I thought it was all choir music, laying in bed trying to find a pulse. I've done it, you know, what the hell.
Anyway, so that was our fun day today. And that all that information will be shipped off. But all right, now you've been leaving comments again. Thanks, guys. It's great to see, and I've actually got the full comments here. And I don't know, the comments section seems to be bizarre lately. It says held for review, and then there's no checks to release them when you want to, and this kind of thing. But anyway, it seems to be there one moment and not the next. And last night, comments were vanishing. I wasn't allowed to post my own reply. And then the comment I was replying to vanished altogether, and weird things.
So if we don't get back to you...
Yeah, I'm trying to respond to everybody's comments in these videos so that everybody gets the benefit of the response. Oh, so on last week's video, somebody, I think it was a fella, you asked about the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, southeast Nigeria.
Yeah, they're descended from the Egemeans that had taken on Judaism. And then when in 70 AD, when the Romans showed up, everyone took off. And of course, over a period of time, they interbred with the Negro races and overtook them and so forth. But they're not Jews. But they do have some of the Jewish traditions because they've adopted Judaism. But Judah is a royal tribe, and that is actually Scotland, England and Ireland. That's what the royal tribe is.
Right. So yeah, no to the Igbo, they're not part of... and I did notice too that it's a lot of... It seems to be Jewish propaganda promoting about them. Somebody asked to clear up, we have not approached this. Yeah, I cannot believe what the world has been reduced to. Somebody asked to clear up finally about flat Earth.
It's round. It's a sphere. Look at the moon, look at the sun, look at Jupiter, look at Venus. It's all spheres. Right?
Pi.
Really?
Just think about pi is the witness, the round.
Really?
Atoms, everything.
It stuns me what actually goes around on the internet. It really does.
And everybody that's fallen for the flat earth, you've been laughed at.
I'll give you an idea. You can walk down to any beach and watch the boats come in. You'll see the top of the ship come in first, and then it gets higher and higher as it comes over the horizon. Or, as we can do here, because we're on a beach, we can take a level, right? And you just put the level along from one side to the other, and you'll see the ocean rise up in the middle and back down on the other end. So the level's dead straight. So, obviously, there's a curvature to the sea, right? And that goes all around the earth. The earth is totally round.
And it is spinning. It is a spinning sphere.
And it spins. Of course it does.
And they didn't go to the moon. That's a total
Never went to the
hoax.
moon. That's all bullshit.
A bit like a Sandy Hook. They did not go to the moon. So, please, can we not just put it to death? It's a
Anything
psyop.
that's mainstream is bullshit.
It's a psyop, and they've done it deliberately to get everybody distracted.
It's like saying the Jews are the chosen people.
Yes.
Hello? They're not Jews.
Right.
They're Mongolians.
Oh, now Donna Juanita did ask, hi guys, wondering if you would know the reason for the Pope Obama and many leaders met at Antarctica very recently at the time leading up to the American election.
That's because our angels are down there. They've been down there for a very, very long period of time. Actually, I have angels talk to me all the time. Not all that frequently, but with key information that I have to do. I'm writing a PowerPoint now talking about how I met my second wife. And I just got divorced from wife number one. That's got rid of that demon. And as I'm walking into a dance hall with a friend of mine that I went to school with, there's a woman walking across the front of the stage, tall woman, turned out to be an English woman, and a voice from above says to me, "Marry that one." And I said, "What?" Not the last thing I want to do, right? He said, "Marry that one." So I said, "No, I'm not going to do it." Well, I tried and tried and tried to avoid her, and my buddy, he falls in love with this woman, and he says, go there like a couple of weeks later, and we've been invited over to their table. And who should be the woman that's her best friend? But this woman, the angel, told me to marry. I tried to avoid it. I ignored her. The more I ignored her, the more because she was quite a beautiful woman, and the more I ignored her, the more keen she got. Right? And she gave me a phone number and I wouldn't call her and all this kind of stuff. Right? So anyhow, she got quite upset because she's the type of woman that got every bloke she wants, but not this little black duck. But anyhow, as it turned out, couldn't avoid it.
And she was a black witch.
Oh yeah. She's the one that challenged me to read the Bible, and the Bible is true. And if I read it, I'll believe. And I said, if I read it, I'll destroy it, which I did. That was in Canada, 1990.
Right, and Carlene, hi Carlene, you're back, darling, and she's asking for a cloth for her mother, Anne-Marie, who has lung cancer from years of smoking. And we've got the plan for the cloth. It'll be happening.
We'll make a video of it, how it's going to be done.
Yeah.
And we've got the material for it. It's got to be linen. And so all you got to do is just place it on her and she'll be right.
And then Pandemonia says that I need the Shroud of Turin t-shirt and underneath the Shroud of Brian Let It Go Lightly Marshall. Yeah, you could wear these cloths, you know, as a handkerchief if you're a guy in a suit pocket or just against your body underneath a singlet or something like that. And then Pandemonia continues with, I remember the exact detail of the dream of meeting Yah and killing the Queen of England. The dream was so real that Chris, seeing me with my arms fully outstretched, choking her. And then she says, I carved BLGM, oops, when I lost the screen. I carved BLGM Jesus into our new sidewalk and everyone wrote their names. Everything got wiped clean except BLGM and Jesus is still there. Ha ha ha, yay. And then she goes on to say that Life of Brian made by D. Monty Python, a snake. They love to mock the Capricorn Brian, same as Yah. The 111, that Brian is God. Moths to the flame. All the evil can talk about is Jesus and Brian. Yes, this Pandemonia knows more than anybody else. My God, is she a warrior? And she found us, 2010. And the trolls, I mean, she was so stunned because, we don't pay any attention to them, but Pandemonia was, and she said they're so obsessed with you, like they can't get enough of him. They're totally consumed and watching for everything. And anyway, it was pretty amazing. And then...
I carefully say things that'll piss them off.
Oh, totally. Now, here we go. Look at this one. This is from anti-Nazi Latino Israelites. And,
Swastika.
Oh yeah, well he's telling us to, calling us devils and all that kind of, and that Yeshua is a black man. Yeah, right. You've got a problem. You've got a mental health problem there, son. And
it's bad as my mental health problem.
Now Cheryl, who left the comment yesterday, she said that my maiden name, Brannigan's crest, was the cross and hand. Could you tell me if what I was told by my family doing research that it was the only family in Ireland that had the coat of arms, crest, and were holy men? Is that true?
I haven't researched it, but why not?
Now, Anna Andrea is the one that she is our resident historian.
She's a genius.
But more than likely, yes, these crests and coat of arms were representative and symbolic of...
Very big in Ireland.
Like the nature of the family, if you like. So, probably, yes. And then, yes, Lady Dixie, I watched the... Face of Jesus in the clouds, and of course all the faces in the clouds look like Yah. And yes, I watched the one. I didn't get a chance to show Yah, but yeah, people they're doing close-up photographs of eyes and iridology, and they're seeing little faces within a part of the iris. So it's everywhere. And then okay. Okay, Donna Summers, it looks like you got your answer there about the Old Testament. I felt in my gut that it didn't make much sense. For instance, Moses freeing slaves and then giving commandments on how to treat slaves, etc. I have a question. Are all of our lives designed with number codes?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you figure this number connection? Well, we kind of touched on that last night, the 194 surgeon that used to be in your drawer, and that set you off.
When I was challenged by my wife in Canada to read the King James Bible, I immediately found it was most of it bullshit, because I didn't look at it all anyway. I just looked at a few little bits and there. But I was led to read the bits like stoning a man to death, picking up sticks on the Sabbath, all this bullshit. So one of the things I did notice, when you read the King James Bible, there's 115 times the word Sabbath is used, and it's all got a small s. It's not a capital S as you would think it should be.
Because
it's a slap in the face. Now, 115 is golightly. Now, that was put in there by King James and Edward de Vere, who was William Shakespeare. You know who your cousin is. So, as King James, he knew that the royal line was the golightly line. He knew that. And so, the golightly name is valued at 115 in English gematria. So, he made sure that there was 115 times the word Sabbath was found in King James Bible.
And of course,
that's why it's got a lowercase. Look it up, any Bible, lowercase s.
Yahweh is the Lord of the Sabbath rest. That's why you get to this age now. He's done it all. You know, it's a rest.
I am I'm very logical, very, very sound-minded. To the point. I don't tell lies. I say, well, this is what I know it to be, and you have to live with it if you don't like it. That's how it is, right? So, I am the Holy Ghost. John 14, 16, 14, 26, 15, 26 and 16, 7 says that the Father, if you like, the Holy Ghost will be sent. The Comforter is the Holy Ghost and is the Father, and will be sent to be with you in the end time. So, you just do the numbers, you look it up, the word Comforter, in the concordance of the King James Bible. So I thought, well, the words, they can't lie about the words. They are got to be numbered alphabetically. So I just started to do it from there. And it was a very, very short period of time. I realised not only was the distances to locations where I was born and where I was conceived and so forth, but also the planets and the stars and the sun and the moon above also gave me the numbers. Like, for example, on January the 11th, 1944, the sunrise to sunset was 855 minutes, with the moonrise 33 minutes later. Now, if you know anything about astronomy, that's quite a rare event. It won't happen again, right? Because the length of the moon in a lunation is 29.53052 days. So it's not going to line up on the 11th of January every year. 11th of January every year at that one location, not down in Melbourne, not up in Brisbane, right where I was born, was 855 minutes. So we go back in time to Jesus, and we find that the same in Bethlehem, which is 31.68 degrees north latitude, that the sunrise to sunset was also 855 minutes, and moonrise was 33 minutes later. So then you have the numbers between the two, then you know how long Jesus lived, you know what date. And I did all this, by the way. The only reason they're talking about it now is I put all the information on the internet and then just back off. And then someone else does it and they become the historian. Oh yeah, he died on the 3rd of April in 33 AD. Well, until I got on the scene, no one knew. But once they explained it all, then it becomes logical. But they don't go back to me and say, oh, well, this old geezer in Australia, he's the one who did it all. That doesn't work like that. But as it turns out, there's only one time in history. That's for the latitude 3168, which is Lord Jesus Christ, which is Bethlehem, and only one time in history, like it is in Sydney, Australia, when the sunrise to sunset and 33 minutes later the moonrise. So therefore you've got a bingo. Then you know you can work out the distance in time, because we know it's the April 3rd of the crucifixion, and that number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 days times pi. Pi means witness, so that number gives you a number that is a distance in miles from the South Pole to the maternity ward where I was born, which is 3877.66. So you multiply that number, you've just got to move it over one decimal point because it's 38776.6. So the point doesn't matter, just move it over. But that gives you the bloody maternity ward where I was born. So you can't argue with it. And they're not going to try and argue with it because it's impossible.
Again, this is the Earth is the book that opens up that only Christ can read.
Look, in the old days, there was a precedent set that if a king wanted a building built, they would build it on the measure of his forearm, right? They want to put a fence or a wall, it doesn't matter how tall or how long it is, but it'll be all based on his measure. Right?
Measure of a man.
That's measure of a man. So, would you not think that the Creator would also do the same thing to give you a mathematical formula that cannot be argued? Pi is pi. It's in the Great Pyramid, and it tells you exactly where I was born, based on the date of Jesus' death to the date of Jesus' birth. That's simple.
Now, Hawkeye, you say you refer to the Bible as bullshit, then turn around and quote it. All right.
Of course, I just did.
It's
the Torah is bullshit. What the Jews have done is bullshit. If you look into a lot of the books like Matthew and Mark, this describe Jesus as the Son of Man. Wrong. Son of God. They're trying to imply that Jesus, and they're keeping it almost perfect, but they put in Son of Man. They could have put in Son of God, which it was originally, but now they've got to change that. So I know they've changed it. So that part is bullshit. But then when you say in the Son of God, then the value of the gematria of that verse in Greek or in English will tell you the truth and the verse number by the concordance numbers. So it's a matter of, I can sort it out for you, but you can read it. When you see Son of Man, I ain't Jesus.
Now, of course, there are universal and eternal truths that Jesus spoke in the Gospels. Yeah. You know, the way to live and how to behave and to die. So these are universal truths that will never ever die. We've told you this before. Paul was a devil. So throw anything he said out. As far as the biblical record is, because again it is to do with the verse numbers and the values of the verses, etc. Yah uses all of these things once he gets the measure, once he gets the number, goes to the concordance, and then it refers from the concordance to particular verses. So
let's get the bullshit part. Anything that Moses says is bullshit. All the laws, 10 commandments is bullshit. Jesus saying 2 commandments: love God with all your heart and love each other. Same way. That's it. Don't need any more than that. So you got Paul suddenly has a visitation by the Lord Jesus 15 years after his resurrection, and he's on the way to Damascus. Why? Damascus was where all the Essenes were. That's where they went to. Now Damascus today is Syria, and that is why they're trying to kill off everybody in Damascus and Syria overall, because that's where the seat of Christianity was. It's called Assyria at the time. These are the same people that rounded up the 10 tribes of Israel and shot them off in ships to form nations in Europe in 722 BC.
Now, of course, Paul was the enemy of Peter, and Peter was crucified upside down in Rome because of Paul. And there's actually documents, and we did come across them, I'll have to dig deep for them, which was writings of Peter, and he referred to his enemy. That was Paul. So the foundation of the church, you've got Peter and Paul, but mostly they're preaching Paul, the doctrines of devils. And we've explained this over. And if in Vatican III, if you read through it thoroughly, Yah pointed out in those 49 canons, 49 points for Pope Benedict, that in the future church, based upon the rock of Peter, who is Benedict, that only the Gospels of Jesus will be taught.
Nothing else.
To bring back to the remembrance and to raise up to the children.
You'll have your book of Daniel, you'll have your book of Isaiah, which is all you need, and then you've got your 4 Gospels, and then there's going to be a little red line under the words which has been changed, and in the bracket in the corner, say, where it says Son of Man, no, sorry, why? It'll explain why, Son of God. Not son of Adam. That's the whole idea. All sin comes down from Adam.
Adam, not Eve.
Not
All
Eve.
sin comes from Adam. Think about this. Adam was given the instruction. Eve was not even on the scene at the time. She was still inside of him. Adam was told by God not to eat from that tree. So, all right, we get through the parable of what happened in the garden. And Eve, you know, she looks at it and she's, the snake is the Jews today. The Jews call themselves the Jews and are not. They are the snake in the garden. So Eve eats and she turns around and says, here, Adam, and he has a bite too. Why didn't he stop her and say, no, God told us not to, and save her? I mean, he should have been the man, but he didn't. It's all his fault. So, and just to give...
sin had been introduced by Adam.
So,
son of man, no. Son of God, yes.
Yeah. Just to give you a little anecdote to that in my own life, it was 1999. It was actually August 14th, 1999. And I was a praying woman. I was out praying, walking around a park, and... and I heard very clearly, and it's the angels that speak to us and prompt us and all the rest of it, and I heard very clearly that it was these words: I'm going to use women to spearhead the restoration of all things. And in my mind, I knew it was right back to the garden. So I get this and I go, wow, I'm thinking you're going to use women to it. And then I go, why, Lord? And these are the words I heard. Because Eve has taken the fall for the fall way too long. And I go, oh, okay. And it was shortly, I got halfway around the lap, it was a big circuit. And then I was thinking about the scriptures from the Revelation about the 144,000, where it talks about the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. And I stopped right there and I just said, Lord, if you're on this earth, I'm going to find you. And I said, I do not care what it costs me. I have 4 children. I lay down the children. And I said, I will find you unto death. And the instant that I said that, I doubled over, because from my belly rose up this fire, and it was a flame, and I'm over like this, and at the same time I'm going, okay. I'm going, all right, I get it. I said,
well, a little bit of science here, a little bit of science. You can light flatulence, by the way.
But I know, now when I go, okay, so that's 1999, August, and then I just kept walking going, oh my God. And from that moment on,
nothing stopped.
I was tested, I was tried, and people said, you're like a dog on a bone. Yah said, you're like a dog on a bone. I was called, you know, the woman who walks on water with a backpack, all this kind of thing, and all the rest of it. Took me 9 years, but this is what I went through, and I had to get really clear, because in the same, before I said, there are so many voices in this world, yet there's one voice that I want to hear, and that's the voice of the shepherd. So I was tested over and over and over, and I had 3 incredible witnesses where they were like put upon my heart. I called it dialogue on the heart. I spoke not a word to anybody. I said, okay, if this is you, because I didn't want any part of it to be me. If this is you, all right. And I just spoke to my heart and all the rest of it. Well, those 3 witnesses came about, and they were miraculous instances. And as each one came to pass, I go, all right, okay. And by the 3rd one, I go, all right, it's you, it's not me. It's got nothing to do with me. I get it. As long as I was obedient to follow the promptings, my soul promptings, and it was all heaven prompting me. It took me 9 years, and I literally went backwards and forwards 5 times, and I'm looking for the Christ in the flesh on the earth, knowing the whole world had been deceived.
So, but the point of all this is the earth round. Yes.
Anyway, let's go on with all of these.
We're finished?
People are thanking us for clearing up the Cindy bit and all the rest of it in the dream, and Yes, and you have, Donna Summers, always been taught that Russia is the enemy. You have been
Right,
so... It's all propaganda. Anything coming out of your
Lovely
media is
people, Russia.
propaganda. Christians.
Putin,
Putin
he
is
has
a man
sworn.
of God.
He has sworn to keep Christianity on the lips of all of Europe, be an example like Russia.
Now, look, he's KGB, but hello.
So what?
His mother was Christian, his father was a communist. So he has seen the two as a child growing up. And yes, he went through the KGB. Well, wouldn't you want somebody who knows exactly how the spy agencies work to lead your nation? Because I tell you what, that's the kind of intelligence that you need so that you do know exactly what is going on in the world. He has been so demonized. We've said this before. Jesus Christ, Adolf Hitler, Vladimir Putin, and now Donald Trump are the most demonized men on the earth inside of the USA. Well, they've all got one thing in common.
Truth.
Truth.
Right, is that it then?
All right, I think so.
Let's
Let's get this up. Okay, and it's dinner time. We're late tonight. So anyway, guys, yes, have fun. Hope you're continuing to dig deep and...
Hasta la vista, baby.
and aloha again.
Oh, yes.
And later, Gators.